Well, first of all, thank you to all of you for having me here. Okay, great. So basically, of course, the argument of this, little interview is Web3 and open metaverses. So we are in front of a big challenge. So everybody saw what are the declarations of Facebook with the change of his name on Meta. Most of you that are here right now, I think, believe that the future of the way we interact with information is actually a spatial way to interact with information. So basically what is augmented reality and virtual reality, we need to ask ourselves what we want to be our future, what we want to, in what metaverse we want to live. So I believe that we are in a kind of turning point of history where basically we have the technology to actually change things. And of course, Web3 is the big enabler of that. So in general, the blockchain. So the fact that basically you can actually own virtual assets. And these metaverses, we can build proprietary metaverses like Meta, but of course we can also build open metaverses like, for example, big metaverses out there like the Centraland, Sandbox, and of course also OVR. So the challenge now is if we are going to be able to drive adoption to this kind of technology, to the declination of this technology that is open. So where the users of this technology can be also the owners of the platform itself. This actually gives ownership, and the ownership creates incentives for people to participate and to be in this metaverse. So the big question is, will this Web3 movement apply to metaverses? Will it be able to actually attract enough people? Will it be able to actually overcome the incumbents? Of course, nobody can really answer to these questions, but what maybe we can do, what I can do, is a little bit talking about what we at OVR are trying to build and what is our vision about this open metaverse. So for those who doesn't know our project, what we are building is an augmented reality metaverse. Because what we believe that is that, yes, VR will be big, will be even more big than it is now. But at the end of the day, we are physical beings. We live in 3D space, and probably we will not spend the most of our time with some VR glasses sitting in our homes. So for us, the vision is that AR will be the new way in which we interact with information in general. And so, again, because of that, it is critical that actually we are able to escape from a centralized version of our future, from a centralized dystopian version of with somebody that owns all of this very rich and very powerful layer. So how this augmented reality layer will be built? What are the base components of that? So I believe that there are two main components of this metaverse. So one is, of course, the control of this metaverse. Like in the web, in the web, you have your websites, you have your web domains, and who owns a web domain will control what will be the content on that website. In reality, in augmented reality, we have space, we have geographic locations. So the base layer for an augmented reality metaverse is actually an ownership layer that allows to control what content will be published where, on what will be the content that will be connected to a specific location. So in our case, like also other companies did, we divided the world in hexagons of 300 square meters, and those we call OVRlands, but you can think about that as spatial domains. So again, just like in the web, if you own a web domain, you control the content on the website. In the AR metaverse, if you own a geographic location, a spatial domain, you will control what is the content that will be projected in augmented reality in that location. So this is the base layer, this is the ownership layer, the control layer, and of course, the best way to decentralize this is having it as an NFT on the blockchain. So because of that, we are building this over the NFT standard. So that is the first component. So who controls what? But actually, that is not enough. And at the end of the day, probably many companies can do this. We have, for example, many competitors that are trying to achieve the same thing, probably not with the same scale we achieved, but of course they're working on that. But there is another very important critical element if you want to create a real augmented reality metaverse, and that is precise geolocalization. So think about that. What is the actually first use case, and maybe the unique use case that comes to mind to you when you think about augmented reality? So very probably that is Pokémon GO. And why? Why is that? Why is that Pokémon GO was the only really the biggest success in augmented reality for B2C up to now? Well, the answer is very simple, because in that case, you don't need precise geolocalization. If you are collecting Pokemons around the world, you don't care if the Pokemon is here or 10 meters away from you. This makes no difference. But if you want really to merge what is the physical and the virtual world, you actually need to have precision. So in order to get precision, you need to have a system that goes beyond the precision of GPS, because right now the means to experience augmented reality is phones, is mobile phones. So mobile phones has GPS. The precision of GPS is 2 to 6 meters when you're outside, and maybe that could be enough for some use cases. But for example, indoor, it doesn't work at all. You have 20 meters, even more precision on that. So you don't really know where assets are placed in space. So anybody, any startup, any company, anybody that wants to do venture in this incredible, in this incredible venture to create an augmented reality metaverse, you need to have a system that goes beyond the precision of GPS, because right now the means to experience augmented reality is phones, is mobile phones. So mobile phones has GPS. The precision of GPS is 2 to 6 meters when you're outside, and maybe that could be enough for some use cases. But for example, indoor, it doesn't work at all. You have 20 meters, even more precision on that. So you don't really know where assets are placed in space. So anybody, any startup, any company, anybody that wants to do venture in this incredible, in this incredible venture to create an augmented reality metaverse, need to solve this issue. Because otherwise, most of the use cases are close to you. You cannot do that. So if you want to have an avatar in the front of a door explaining about services and goods, if you want to have a path inside a mall, you want to augment a monument or recreate some historical reconstruction, you need to have precision. You need to know where assets are projected in space. So what's the solution of that? The solution to that is to create a reference system, a scanning of geographic location. So this technology need to be ubiquitous and need to be cheap. Everybody needs to be able to use it and need to be reliable. So there are companies that build this kind of software, like for example, Microsoft or Niantic. But of course, if you take the service for them, you need to pay for this, and the data, they will own that data. So we don't want that, and we cannot use that system, because of course that would be unsustainable if you build like a freemium or a free business model. I mean, if you deliver something, for example, you deliver some augmented reality experience, you cannot pay those guys to actually have this localization. So because of that, and because we think this is the real critical element to really start creating this augmented reality metaverse, at OVR, we actually build this technology internally. So we create the algorithms that this system, we call it map to earn, that allows to actually create 3D maps and actually also a relocalization algorithms just by using normal mobile phones. So the $100 mobile phone that anybody has in his pocket, so the cheapest mobile phone that you have in your pocket, that you can have in the pocket, it can be used to create these 3D maps. So in our case, our hexagons are around 300 square meters, and it takes between 200 and 500 pictures to actually create two things. So one thing is a point cloud of the location, so that you can use it to actually locate that asset in space when you want to actually connect to those. And also we train a neural network so that when a camera sees again that location, understands where you are in space with a precision of 20 centimeters. And so our moonshot our big goal right now is to incentivize the community in order to do this activity of actually mapping the world. Or not actually mapping the world. Nobody can do that. But our goal right now is to map the lands that people bought, that at the end of the day are a wisdom of the crowds on what are the most important places in the world. In OVR, people already bought more than 500,000 lands, and basically they vote with their wealth, with their tokens, on what are the best places in the world. So we're going to start mapping those locations. And again, coming back to Web3 and open metaverses, for us it's very important that this activity, the return on the work of this activity, need to be owned by the people that actually do this job. So the way it will work, and the alpha version will be out 30 days, the way it will work is that the people that will do this mapping will actually generate an NFT. And they will be the exclusive owners of this NFT. So then they will have two choices. One will be to sell it, maybe to the landowner or maybe to us that will make an open buy order for these NFTs. Or they can actually decide to retain for them this NFT, expecting some cash flows from those. Because of course, this relocalization will be a kind of service, because there will be hardware and will be algorithms that need to run to do this relocalization. And so the choice could be to retain this NFT and actually have the revenue stream from this precious, very precious information at the end of the day. So these are the two really important building blocks that we believe at OVR, that are actually the base layers of what we envision as the open augmented reality metaverse. So an ownership layer, so owning geographic locations based on NFTs, and a mapping layer, so a mapping of the actual geographic location of the actual coordinates that actually is also based on NFT standard. So that this information does exist and is owned by the community, besides what happened to the platform itself. So yeah, I think that I finished my times, but I mean, I think I told everything I wanted to say about what is our vision about the open metaverse. So if you have any questions, I'm very happy to answer you. Thanks. Yeah, I see the question about the LiDAR. And of course, if a mobile phone has LiDAR, is even better. But the way we build the system is that it needs to work with any hardware, because at the end of the day, what we want to create with this is also social inclusion. So it's not that you need to have a $1,000 phone in order to do this activity, but we really want anybody to be able to do this activity. And another thing, we really believe that we can map these 500,000 lands. We already sent our community to more than 1.2 million locations to actually participate to a treasure hunt with the Pokémon GO style, so to collect tokens and to collect NFTs. So what we're going to do is actually say to this community, okay, you can still play with this play-to-earn model, but we give you another opportunity to actually use your time and your skills in order to generate assets that have a value. Yeah, I don't understand what land that people purchase. Can you explain better? Yeah, so basically people purchase the lands all around the world. If you go in our website, OVR.AI, you will be able to see a map, and you can go in the marketplace and see exactly where they buy. Actually, you really see, I remember 2 months ago, we was at an event and I wanted to distribute some NFTs about Lisbon because I was in Lisbon. And so I look on Google, the best place in Lisbon. So those were all gone. So basically, people really are buying the locations that are on top of their mind as the good locations in the place. So it could be, I don't know, very famous monuments, very famous commercial streets, and so on. So basically, it's really impressive how this crowd knowledge, this idea on what are the good locations actually manifests in the map in the OVR's map. This is the vision for mapping public spaces. Yes, of course. Also, people will start mapping, of course, the locations that have a higher traffic, because this is also the location that people bought. But this thing that you were telling about national parks, it just gives me the opportunity to tell something about a more visionary even idea. So, of course, the first places to be mapped will be the places with a lot of traffic. But what about actually using this system also for things like understanding, for example, what is the biodiversity in a location, or actually tracing how much CO2 a location level absorb? Because of course, if you take a 3D scan of a location when there is more trees, and in 1 year there are like those trees have not been cut, have been grown, how much CO2 those absorb? So, okay, this is maybe a very visionary idea, but really the potential of these maps and the things that you can do with this raw data that you get actually scanning location, it's really hard to imagine right now. So the Re-localization service maybe is just the first and small use case. No, an ownership never expires in our system. Once you own an NFT, it's yours forever. And of course, same for the maps. Of course, maybe the maps become obsolete. That could, of course, happens, but the ownership is yours. I mean, it's an NFT. No, there is no tax on virtual property. I mean, our business model is based on hosting fees and re-localization services. So basically, if you own a virtual land, it's yours forever. You don't need to pay anything. If you want to actually have an experience over there, you want to ask to host an experience over there, of course, there will be a cost for that, because like in the web, if you want somebody to serve some content, you need to pay for the hardware and infrastructure needed to do that. But if you just want to own it, you own it and that's it. Yeah, why it? Yes, of course, we are big believers in it and its ecosystem and so on. And that's why we are there. But of course, gas fees is a problem right now. And because of that, we're going to move to Polygon in the next month. Yeah, Polygon, correct. Yes, of course, there is also a secondary market. So basically, you can see already the secondary market is open. There's many transactions over there. And so if you buy land, you can actually resell it if you want to do that. And also, I mean, we had a very, let's say, low price policy for this land. So the base price for the land is just $10. So if nobody bids on that land, you can buy it. And this is also the idea, because this is an infrastructure. So you want to be very accessible. So anybody needs to be able to buy it if they want to test it or to try it or to just buy their backyard. They need to be able to do that. Yes, of course, as you mentioned, in the same area can be owned by somebody else in the other metaverse. That there's no doubt about that. And also, of course, other people can build other metaverses, and there are already other metaverses out there. So the real point, and I think that those can also coexist. No, we can see a future where basically there are many systems to actually locate assets in space that actually can coexist, and you can have some hardware that can actually let you use this infrastructure and decide what to visualize. In our vision, the real point, as I mentioned at the beginning of this speech, is about what features you have in this metaverse. So yes, anybody can actually break down the world in hexagons or squares or whatever. But the point is that if you don't also map those are useless for most of the use cases. So the only way to really build an open metaverse and to give value to that is to be able to, at least an augmented reality metaverse, is to be able to create an infrastructure so that people can really locate assets precisely in space. Otherwise, most of the use cases that you will have will not be possible to execute. Have commercial companies use OVR to market their headquarters? Right now regarding use cases, I mean, we're very young. I mean, we're 1 year old right now. I mean, at least being in the market, we've been building this company since 3 years, but publicly we are on crypto market since 1 year. Right now we have quite a few use cases. We have people building on these metaverses. Right now, if you go on the website, you can also see the stats. I think we have 7,000 experiences that have been already uploaded. And I didn't mention before, but we have actually 3 layers. So the first layer is the ownership layer, the second layer is the mapping layer, and then we have a third layer that is this SDK or builder, we call it. We have 2 kinds of builders. One is a web builder, so that actually people can just drag and drop GLB files. And we have a more powerful and expressive one that now is in alpha, but is going to be released to the public very soon. That is a Unity plugin. So basically, with this Unity plugin, you can create much more complex experiences, and you can create logics and even games, of course. Yeah, moderation is a big point. So basically, right now, the system of content is centralized because, of course, we host it in our servers. We are working on decentralize it, so it will be on IPFS. So in that case, the moderation will be actually given to the community. So of course, the assets will exist anyway in the IPFS, but there will be possible to create some filters on the experience that will be visualized by default. And this should be a community effort. Of course, probably it's early to think about that, but this is something that will be very important in the future. Yes, of course, will be possible, of course, to promote anything on this platform. But of course, we believe that the marketing side, even if sometimes comes to mind very easily, probably will be the last use case, because you will never build a metaverse or a platform to actually funnel more marketing to people. So first you need to build things that people like, interesting things, and then of course you can attach to that marketing. And so what we believe is that first of all, there will be experience that people enjoy to do. And of course, then if there is an experience that is enjoyable and people like to do that, then of course people could attach marketing to that. So, I mean, we are on a horizontal platform, so we don't have a vertical specific use case. So we believe the gaming will be big, live events will be big, also because in OVR, you have your avatar. You are in this metaverse with your avatar. From a single picture of your face, we create a 3D mesh of you, and you are in this metaverse with your avatar, and you can meet other people. So live events where you can meet other people with their avatars will be a big thing. And of course, retail will be something big. So having avatars, AI avatars explaining about goods and service will be big. But of course, marketing will come also, showcase of progress, for example, but will not be the first use case. Well, yeah, competitors, this is a good question. So, this is the question where startups always say that they are the best. So I should try to avoid that. So, of course, we are small if compared to VR metaverses. So if you compare us to a Sandbox and Decentraland, we are very, very small. They are 6.5 billion market cap. We are 70, 80 million, something like that. So they are very, very far away from us, but they are very different. They are doing a VR metaverse while we are doing an AR metaverse. Regarding AR metaverse, we are definitely the biggest, even if we are not the first ones. There are others that are coming, but our numbers are very, very far away. So if you look, I will not give you the names, but to two competitors in augmented reality metaverse, the number of lenses that they sold is like orders of magnitude smaller than us. And so, of course, this maybe is not like this forever, but I mean, we are moving fast and we will keep moving fast. So we believe right now we have a competitive advantage. This map to earn is a huge competitive advantage and a very big barrier to entry. And so let's see. I mean, the future is open and nobody knows what is going to happen. I mean, as I mentioned, we are not the first to build this business model. We came after other companies that did it in 2017. We overcome them very fast. So we was able to do it. Maybe somebody is able to do that with us. Of course, I don't think so, but you never know. But anyway, even if somebody comes and become bigger than us, I mean, the real big thing for us is to build a great community. To build a great community that finds our products useful and actually built on that and built content and met the world. So if we achieve this, I mean, we are happy anyway. And also about that is interesting because regarding the use cases, I was very surprised about what people are building on OVR. So the thing that surprised me most was that 5 days ago, something like that, a person from Turkey actually used our platform for a marriage proposal. So I would never imagine that. Yeah, I just answered to this last question because I need to go now. But yes, we use GPS for general position, eye-level position. So then when we get the eye-level position, we will upload, so we will get the weights of the neural network that have been trained on that location, and we relocalize through the image that it passed through the phone. So basically, we use GPS for general position, and then we use the camera with the neural network for relocalization, for precise localization. So really, has been a great pleasure. Thank you very much for everybody. I think I went over my time. And so please join our community. Carmen, that I see it's here, is managing also our Twitter account. So please reach to her. Connect also to our Telegram. I mean, we are happy to connect with anybody that wants to collaborate. We have a team that is growing. We have 30 people now. We want to get to 60 in the next 6 months. So also we are looking for talents. So please just connect with us, and we are happy to move on with you. Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure.